Join us for a driving review of the all-new pure electric Fiat 500. Let's go! In the front, the all-new Fiat 500 has this closed EV look, so it looks definitely stronger as well, a little bit wider. And you see the headlamps are split right here with the LED. Very interesting. Very base version would still come with halogen, and then optional, the main headlamp unit is also LED or also included in one of the higher trims. The length is at 3.63 meters, 11'9" or 143 inches. So a couple of centimeters, couple of inches longer than the predecessor. The turning circle, by the way, it's small, 9.7 meters. Wheels come from 15.2, maximum 17 inch. You can see them right here, the multi-spoke design, really interesting. And here the design element, this chrome stripe that goes all the way over the vehicle. And the 500 logo has here this integrated E, like a 500E, but they just call it Fiat 500, although it's just the all-electric version now all over the place. And you can see from the side profile, not too much changes if you compare the outgoing model. And you can see also the convertible has the soft top roof right here. And it is a major difference here in the spoiler if you compare the convertible to the hatch. And in the rear, the typical Fiat 500 design where the top part is shorter and the lower part is longer, so boat or yacht style. Then new tail lamps here as well. Overall, everything is basically new, like 96% of the parts are new, so almost nothing has stayed from the predecessor version, also an all-new electric platform. And the top speed here, by the way, there's a small and the big battery. With a smaller battery, the top speed is around 85 miles per hour, so around 135 kilometers an hour. And with the bigger battery we have here today, 90 miles per hour top speed, so that's 150 kilometers an hour. Under the hood we can see the front electric motor, so front wheel drive, and the smaller version 95 horsepower, 9.5 seconds in the acceleration figure, and the bigger version we have here today with the bigger battery 118 horsepower with 9 seconds in the acceleration figure. And about the range figures, so the small battery is 24 kilowatt hour with about 170 kilometers of range or 100 miles. And the bigger battery we also have today is 42 kilowatt hours with projected range of 300 kilometers or 190 miles. Today it's quite cold, so it will be a little bit less. And charging is always 11 kilowatt AC. That's good. And DC also available, 50 kilowatt max for the small battery, and here for the big battery 85 kilowatt. Actually, you feel a little bit more, spacious here when you're sitting in this new generation. The seats also go way lower. In the previous generation, you feel you sit a little bit higher, and that's why you also have more headroom. So here, especially in the convertible, a lot of headroom with 1.6 or 6.1. The base version would start without any screen here in the middle. You just use your smartphone. Then when you go for the bigger battery, you automatically get a 7-inch screen, a smaller one here in the middle. And this is here the top 10.25-inch screen, the biggest one available. Left side, always digital instruments. And you can see this here, exterior color match for this deco element, but different stylings available for that one. And the digital instruments, you can browse through different views. This is more just with a centralized tachometer, and settings interesting as here with the map view, for example, like this. so you can also have it then in your line of sight a little bit better. This is definitely very helpful. And here's the big sat-nav view, and actually, yeah, sometimes it takes a little time to load, but then it's quite okay from responsiveness, and the visualization here is also actually quite decent. So getting inside, possible on driver and the passenger side. It's a little bit tricky. That's better than with this 3+1 version, actually. But here in the normal hatch or in the convertible, it's like this, and you can slide the seat backwards again, but just that you can see it better. The cool thing about the convertible is that you have more headroom in the rear, and it's also, a soft area, of course. So when you go a little bit backwards, you have more headroom than in a normal hatch, and when you hit the ceiling, it's also soft. So headroom-wise, I can sit here as a toy adult. It's just that when I put the seat backward, as I would be driving there in the front, no matter which seat, it just doesn't work with the knees. I really have to somehow, somewhere. Yeah, it's tough situation, definitely. And to open the roof, electric here, on the inside, press it once. This is then step 1. This is, of course, so unique. Brings really so much light inside here. And then there's step 2. You have to press then for a second time, and there we go, and then it goes all the way back, and that really gives you a very, very unique feeling here in this Fiat 500, and why I always would go for the convertible version right here. And the trunk area is 185 liters up to 550 liters when you fold the seats. Here in a half split, already put one side down. Charging cable is just here underneath. There's space, for example, for the additional charging cable, for example. So the convertible here has just this small opening. This will be different than in the classic hatch where you have a big opening, but the liter figure is just the same. And the normal driving mode does not include much recuperation, so when I go off the throttle, we are rather rolling. And this is actually good for efficiency when you do not want to reduce the speed. So that's actually then quite okay. Rolling is always more efficient than the recuperation. And you can always start the recuperation by just hitting the normal brakes. And then it's doing the recuperation until you have a level where you need even more braking power. And then the normal brakes would be applied. Here, easy to squeeze ourselves into city traffic with the Fiat 500. And the acceleration is always spontaneous with electric vehicles, even if they're not super powerful. That means when you're almost at standstill here in city traffic and just hit the throttle, it's really going forward very, very well. That's cool. Here the driving mode selector told you initially that you have to really hammer this switch to be able to change the driving modes. And then you can go to range or Sherpa. Sherpa is more like, guide me home, bring me home. This reduces the heating and reduces the top speed and so on. So if you're really I'm really going to make it, but usually you don't need it. Usually just need either normal driving mode or the range mode. And the range mode actually then does a harsh recuperation. So this is more for this one pedal driving feeling. So when I accelerate and get off the throttle, it really reduces the speed, and then also until it stops, until 0. Suspension wise, whoa, that's getting a little bit rough. So it's rather set on a sporty tone. The suspension is not forgiving at all. So when there are some bumps in the road, especially with the 17-inch wheels, this reduces the comfort a little bit. So if you want more comfort, rather stick with the 15 or 16-inch wheels. And there we go. Plop, that's 50. That's really cool. Really nice from the reactions here. It feels really sporty. The chassis has always been improved, and since we have the battery in the floor, this also brings down the center of gravity. That's with most of the electric vehicles, they feel sportier than it would be with the combustion engine version. So now no one is behind us. We can do some 70 kilometers to 100 kilometers. See how it accelerates here. Let's go. Plop, that's it. I think still reasonable. Here now at 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour, you feel it's a little bit more noisy than it would be with the normal closed hatch, definitely. Still sound okay, but noise insulation is not where this car would be leading, let's take it that way. And now here we reduce from 100 kilometers to 80. Let's see how strong it is with the recuperation. Now. Plop, and 80. See, and this was even 75 even. So this again works very well. Now in this segment here, there's hardly any other car with level 2 autonomous driving, and this is possible here with the cruise control set here on the steering wheel, and there's also a lane keeping assist. So both is available. Let's see how the car is being kept in the lane. So far a smooth process here. So I'm not using the steering wheel at the moment, just holding on a little bit, and also without too much interference. Really smooth process here. You see it's going slightly right. I can also increase the speed here with the right thumb. So this is a really helpful feature. I like that. And let's bring it to the top speed. So here we go. And now it shut down 150 kilometers an hour. So around 90 miles an hour. And now it's getting quite noisy in here. But the car is still relatively stable, no problem. Steering, however, very, very light. But suspension-wise and chassis-wise, I still feel at home. One more special driving feature here with the convertible. Let's open that thing. So this is then the first step. Of course, now in winter times, not that attractive. But here 60 kilometers an hour, you can still drive in a reasonable way. That works. Not too much wind getting inside. Let's see how the difference is when I put it all the way down like this. It's of course more open than when I'm driving it with the open top. I think I would really go here with all the way down. Then you have less wind turbulence, and it's also feeling really cool. And like the 60-70 kilometers an hour, you can easily drive with that with open top for city driving with open top. It's really perfect and makes this car so much more unique. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new Fiat 500. First of all, if you compare it to the predecessor, what a big step forward. It is better in every single possible way. I think it looks better, it looks sportier, it appeals to a wider target group. And the normal hatch, I think the best looking, especially then from the rear. The convertible, doesn't work that well from the rear design, I think, but it has the big advantage that you can drive it with the open top. It will be such a pleasure, especially in summertime. However, it's also a little bit noisier than while driving if you compare it to the normal closed hatch. The 3+1 version is the version then if you have kids and want to get the child seats in and out of the car quite frequently, or just the kids and leave the child seat in the vehicle. This is definitely a very helpful feature. And from the interior, way better build quality than ever before, and also with a nice design, straightforward user interface and so on. Driving wise, a lot of fun indeed. Electric power, you have the torque instantaneously, so you can be quite quick in the city indeed. As for the energy economy, we have to say it really works. So our final result for today is that we really reached this official figure of about 14 kilowatt hours on 1 kilometers, and that means the 300 kilometers or 190 miles range is indeed realistic. A little bit less than when you have cold temperatures, and of course also less when you have high autobahn speeds. 1 kilometers or 60 miles an hour, we're about like 18 kilowatt hours on 1 kilometers, and when you go max speed, then the range is dropping significantly. But overall, definitely also a lot of fun driving, and also seating position is sportier, sit a little bit lower in the vehicle, but at the same time more comfortable than before. So even though I'm a tall adult, I didn't have any back pain experience or so. So overall, I think indeed a very interesting new competitor on the EV market. So what's your take for today? Please leave us your comments here to the all-new Fiat 500. Do you like it, and which version would you go for? The convertible, the hatch, or the hatch 3+1? Leave us your comments, let's discuss this vehicle, and also see you next time.